I'm going to talk about an antidepressant, a natural antidepressant that I've been using for the past 3 to 4 years with some pretty good results. I'm not somebody who reacts very well to chemical drugs. I've taken lithium on and off, and I would say this natural solution works a whole lot better than lithium. The problem is that it can only work very intermittently, and you will see why. So, the way I had discovered this natural antidepressant was kind of by accident. A year and a half ago, I was getting ready to view Jupiter in opposition. This was May 8th of 2018. In the past, I had viewed Jupiter in opposition, but it was always close to the winter time. This one was actually in the summer sky where I was hoping to get it near the Milky Way. So this year it turned out even better. This year it was June 10th of 2019, but May 8th, 2018 turned out okay as well. It was at the edge of the Milky Way. It wasn't smack in the middle like it was this year. And so I was getting ready to view it, and I realized I had to work the day of that viewing and also the day after. And I wanted to go to Ellensburg because the Milky Way would only show up in Ellensburg. You can maybe see Jupiter here in Seattle, but Ellensburg, I sometimes almost call it a space station here on Earth. And I tell people I'm going to Ellensburg Space Station, and sometimes when I count down how many more days before I leave for my trip, I call it T minus 3 days, so for Ellensburg. So I really like going there to view the night sky. And I thought for sure, if I stayed up all night and then I came back, I would mess up my day at work and possibly lose my job. And I was kind of prepared for that, actually. But I loved Jupiter and the Milky Way so much that I was willing to risk that, to do it. And so I came back, and sure enough, I was very sleep deprived at work. But I actually had a pretty good day. I didn't take things too harshly. See, I work with clients, and sometimes clients drive me nuts. And when I was sleep deprived, especially young kids, I was working at a tutoring center. Sometimes young kids will say really stupid things, and they're so stupid that you can't even respond to them. And it used to drive me nuts. I didn't want other kids to hear these stupid remarks, and sometimes I almost had to pretend not to hear them, and sometimes some kids will know to let it go, sometimes they don't, and so anyways, but when I was sleep deprived, I found I could handle that a whole lot better. I could tell these people, you got to stop, or else we're going to have to call your parents, and I was able to talk matter of fact. I didn't get my emotions tied into it. And I didn't get angry so easily. Sometimes when I'm not sleep deprived, I get into road rage problems on the highway. Honk my horn or something like that. Or I just get lonely and I start to play these weird games on the highway, even if it's not road rage. At one time, this was when I was younger and more stupid, I was driving on a 2-lane freeway. And this is a 2-lane road where there's dotted yellow lines to pass. And somebody wanted to pass me, and I sped up for no apparent reason, just out of revenge. I just didn't want this guy to go in front of me. I was young and stupid. I was 21 years old. I had only been driving for 2 years at that point. And I sped up, and next thing I know, this SUV comes around this corner right at us. And so I'm not gonna play this game anymore. I slowed down, but unfortunately, the guy next to me misunderstands, and he slows down as well. So now we're just packed into the highway, and this SUV is coming at us. And at the last second, the SUV ran off of the road. And just being young and stupid, I thought that gave me a little excitement for the day because nobody was hurt. I mean, the SUV probably needed a tow out of the ditch it went into, but nobody was hurt, and it gave my trip a little bit of excitement. You see, when I'm wide awake, things like that will get at me. I'm lonely. I need a little excitement, or I'm angry. When I'm sleep deprived, it's much more easier for me to follow the order of day-to-day life without too much complaint or too much excitement, or my emotions get very dulled out when I'm sleep deprived. So sometimes when I have important events, like a job interview or a serious date or meeting my future in-laws, sometimes I'll actually deliberately miss the night of sleep before that for this purpose. Recently, I've been doing this every Sunday night, so I can start the Monday on a good note at least. The problem with this antidepressant that I've come up with, and actually there's literature on this, I didn't really come up with it, but I've experimented with it enough to know how it works on my body. The big problem of it is that I've never gotten it to work 2 nights in a row, and I've never gotten it into a routine where it can work long term, or even a short term, right? It's only 1 day out of a week, or at most twice a week, right? Well, the other thing that's really annoying is that we have 7 days in the week, and 7 is an odd number. I wish it were an even number of days so I can go on, off, on, off, on, off. I don't know why 7 though. 7 is a prime number, so it doesn't seem to work as well. If I were inventing the calendar, I would have the week be 8 days. Because a lot of people want to fight for a 3-day weekend, there's a lot of movements to fight for that. I don't mind working 5 days, so I just want the 3 days off, and that solution never seems to get tossed around. I would hate working 4 days because sometimes you get into this momentum of your work and it feels like it's just a waste to take the 5th day off. I really hate long weekends for that regard. The other change I would make to the calendar, and this one I've talked quite a bit about, is I would make the day 24 hours and 50 minutes. See, the problem with 24 hours is that I'm not very tired when it's time to go to bed. I don't get enough sleep, I don't have enough hours in the day. But with an extra 50 minutes, the reason for 24 hours and 50 minutes is that it's the lunar cycle. And the reason for that is that with those extra 50 minutes, I'm actually tired by the time I wait 24 hours and 50 minutes since I last went to bed. And I have enough time in the day to do everything that I want. I don't get into this road rage, I don't get into this hurry, and when it's time to get up, I actually have time to get ready for bed. And every time I travel somewhere and I have to adjust it, I feel so good during the adjustment. Oh, it's kind of funny how it works. When people complain about jet lag, and I'm going to Taiwan soon, I go to Taiwan and the first night I'm sleeping at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and I get later and later until I'm sleeping at my regular 11 o'clock midnight. I feel so good during those times. I'll feel even better if I miss a night's sleep in between there, but only for 1 day, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it only works for 1 day. If I need to be happy 2 or 3 days in a row, I do need to take the lithium, unfortunately. But if it's a 1-day event, this is my little hack, if you will. Unfortunately, I have not gotten it to work more than 1 day, and looking online, it looks like nobody has. So that's the unfortunate part. If you have any experience doing this and you've gotten it to work 2 days at least, so definitely leave a comment. Thanks for watching.